So, how do businesses actually make money? Well, let me tell you, it's not the way you think. So, money. Something we all love, something we all like. Well, there are two keywords that we are going to be using a lot in this video: revenue and profit. Today I'll be showing you how businesses make money, but it's not in the way you think. So, we're going to be using another pen because this one is very, very bad. So, ladies and gents, folks, please pay attention, close attention throughout this wonderful lesson with your wonderful businessman, Mr. Sayed. يا شباب راح نكون نسوي حين هالفيديو بنكون نسويه بالانجليزي حق بعض الناس المستمعين، ان شاء الله انتم بتقدروا تفهمون عليه، بس هاي بس يكون فيديوهات وحيده راح نكون نسويها بالانجليزي. Of course, I hope you all like my business suit. Very expensive and lavish. Anyway. Let's dry this off and let's get started. So, as I was saying before, put here money, but it wasn't so clear. Money. Of course, businesses make money in many different ways. So today we're going to be looking at two businesses that make money, but how do they make money? Okay? And it's a very long, complicated process, but I cannot explain all of it. I'll just explain one word, so it can be less complicated. Most people think businesses make money by just selling stuff. Well, I'm here to tell you that's definitely not the case. Today I'll show you how companies make their money and how they earn billions in less than 3 hours, in less than 3 minutes. It's a very, very complicated process, ladies and gents, but of course you may understand this once I continue. I hope you can all see, but I will be putting it a bit closer so all of you can please pay attention. Money, okay? Of course, let's get started. So, as I said, some keywords that I'll be explaining today, one of them is going to be revenue. So revenue is what companies make, what the company makes of money each month. Is that how you spell revenue? Oh, no, so revenue. Of course, it's a process. The way they make money. So this is revenue, in case you didn't understand this, ladies and gents. And then we're going to be making another arrow to something else. But what is that thing going to be? I want you all to guess in the comments. Pause the video for 5 minutes and think about what could be after revenue. It's a process. When we put that arrow, we mean that revenue will lead to something else. And then there's 3 processes. So the better word that we will use in business, especially in a lot of these lessons and these advices that I'll be showing you, are process. Okay? So please pay close attention while I will be showing you the processes. Revenue, as we said, is the way that what businesses make from their business. If it's whether a company, a fast food chain, a tech company, many. But today I'll be showing you 2 companies. I'll be explaining, well, I'm not exactly explaining, but telling you in one word or a couple of words how they make their money in less than 3 minutes. Some people think they just sell stuff. Well, that's not the case, as I said. Profit. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry. Profit, another key word that I want you to be looking at here. Revenue, and of course, profits. That's another keyword. Once we eventually go from revenue, we take that process to profits. Of course, revenue and profits are two different words, very different in a meaning. Let me just take that code off. We'll take that off for this lesson. Of course, as you know, revenue, there's a lot of weight. Well, let's just wear that. AC's on. Yes, revenue, after we go to revenue, we take the process to profits. Another keyword of business. The things you're going to be learning with me throughout these lessons, ladies and gents, with business is that, first of all, it's not easy, but I will help you make your dream business, and I'll help you expand that business into something wonderful, something amazing, inspiring. There's many words to explain that, but of course we will only be starting with these two words for this lesson, but we will be continuing with another word. Of course, once we eventually reach revenue, profits, we are going to go down to the last process, costs. Costs. What do businesses? What are their costs? What are their things that they pay so they are able to expand their business and make it into a multi-million business? What are the costs? Revenue, profits, cost. Three processes. But we can also go backwards in the processes. You may have seen this diagram before, but there are many types of these diagrams that hopefully we're going to be explaining. But for today, our diagram is going to be cost, revenue, profits. Of course, you can go backwards if you wanted to. Let me just grab this chair. That's better. So, revenue, profits, and costs. You could go backward if you wanted to. You could go costs, profits, revenue. Some of you may ask, the process, how will it go? Well, revenue, we have the revenue, what the business makes, let's say in a month. How much does the business make? The profits, also similar. It's similar, not the exact same thing. Hopefully going to be explaining that in more detail in the next few lessons. That hopefully this is going to become a very big series, folks. So, yep. Well, people who want to open their own business and want to succeed, they definitely need to watch this video. So please click like on this video, and don't forget to subscribe if you are not already subscribed to my channel. Revenue, well, what the company makes, businesses, fast food chains, tech companies, many companies, what they make in a month. Profits, what they earn. Costs, what they have to pay for their company to become great or wonderful. Sometimes they have to invest. What are the costs so they can provide products? Sometimes you can't always get investors. No, nowadays it's hard. Even providing an application, you cannot always get an investor. That pitch has to be very strong. So that's why you always have to make sure that you have a backup plan. And that backup plan will involve costs. But of course you can always have a budget limit. So please put in the comments if you want us to explain that in more detail in next videos about budgeting your costs. Of course, let's continue to the next diagram. I will be naming this diagram number 1, which you can also call diagram A. Now let's head to diagram B, aka diagram number 2. So let's get started. Of course, we missed a smudge right here, but it's no problem. You can always fix that. Okay. Now that's fixed, we can continue to the next type of processes. We already did revenue. Now let's continue to something else. Now let's talk about revenue versus profit. Okay, so next diagram, revenue. Now we're gonna also have another keyword that I will be wanting you to pay very close attention to during this lesson. Expenses. A very, very, very important keyword in business. Some people think business is just about opening a company and a side hustle. No. You have to also focus on your expenses. Keep track of your expenses. What you are paying. What you are spending your money on to make your company bigger and expand it. And make it a multi-million company. Of course, many people say that expenses are not important. But you always have to make sure that you are tracking your expenses. Let's continue to the next one. So we've got an arrow, a lovely arrow right there. Yes, I know, 5 stars. No need. Anyway, thank you, ladies and gents. Anyway, we're gonna continue now to we're gonna do some small doodles. A burger for McDonald's and a phone for Apple. Oh my goodness, I just explained that. I'm such a devil. It doesn't matter. We're gonna do I think we can just continue and we can do it at the top. We don't want to waste too much space and we don't want to rub it out because it will cost us money. And this is business. So business is business. Always remember that, ladies and gents. Anyway, let's do this. I'm not a really good drawer, but I will say that this is a burger. I know, doesn't look like a burger, but it doesn't matter. And we're gonna do another one. A phone. Now, I know it doesn't look like a phone, but we are gonna go with that. But it does look a bit like an iPad or a Mac. As you already may know, I have spoiled the surprise, but the companies that we're gonna be talking about today are 2 very, very big companies. First of all, McDonald's. Supports Israel, but it's still a very, very, very big fast food chain. Worldwide, has more than 10,000 locations over the world. It has 43,000 locations and more. But McDonald's is one of the biggest fast food chains ever. Many people order from them. They make loads of revenue. Apple, also another very big tech company. People consider Apple the best tech company ever. Better than Samsung, better than the rest. Well, no, that's not wrong. I'm filming this video with a Samsung and it's working perfectly fine. So, Mr. Sayyid, what's the problem? You may not notice this, but McDonald's and Apple are very, very big rivals. See, McDonald's is a very big company. Apple is a very big company. You may notice that when you go into the fast food chain, you have rivals. For example, McDonald's may have rivals with Burger King, or let's say Wendy's. and the other fast food chains. But when we go to Apple, they're also rivals with Samsung. Apple and Samsung are very, very big long-term rivals. Yeah, that's basically it. The other companies in tech are not really strong. Except you may look at some laptops like MacBook, very strong laptop also for editing and many other work purposes. And also we may look at HP, a wonderful laptop too. But today we're just going to be looking at these two chains. So how do McDonald's actually make money in less than 3 minutes? One word: convenience. Now, yes, McDonald's, they use convenience. So of course I don't really know that meaning well. So, and it will take a long explanation to explain what convenience means. So you search it up and see what convenience means, and we can make our lives easier. Now, Apple, how do they make money? Two very, very important keywords: identity, and we can never ever forget design. Those are the most very, very important keywords. Identity, a very important keyword. Of course, identity and design. Of course, we all know what that means. Identity, they just look at the coloring, the design, and basically how the company's quality is. They don't just sell it. And design, the way they've designed their product. If you look at the MacBook, if we look at the, let's say the iPhone, if we look at the new iPhone 7 Pro, how every single year they make it look different. They try to bring new ideas to life. They try to make it look different from the others. Why? That's why basically Samsung and Apple are rivals, because both the companies are good. They both have good products. They both have good laptops. They both have good iPads, functional iPads, and basically they both make very good profits, and they both have very huge revenue. But the branches have a difference, but that doesn't really matter. But we can look at that in hopefully other lessons. Now, McDonald's convenience, Apple identity and design are the ways they get their money in less than 3 hours. These are two very important words: convenience, identity, design. 3 words that has huge impact on business. So these are also key words. I think we might make a list of keywords in business that hopefully you can learn a lot about and are important when you're opening a business. So let's make a little table, not a table. So we have put here keyword. Oh, that. Take that. Keywords. Now, our keywords so far are expenses, revenue. I also forgot that we're going to be also adding profits. Yeah, so profits are another. Profit and convenience. Identity. And of course design. These are all the keywords that we use in business throughout this lesson. So we're going to be now continuing. So we're going to rub this formula out. We're going to restart it again. Of course, you may notice that this lesson has a lot of formulas. Well, formulas are another way that we can explain business. easily. So how about that? Need a bit of elbow grease here. Okay, we are finished. Now, some tissue to dry it out, and we can be good to go. Okay. That's good. Now let's continue. Yes. Now let's put here revenue. Revenue. And then we minus it with costs. Revenue is, of course, as I've mentioned before, is how much the business makes monthly. Let's say monthly or yearly or whatever time period you may choose. Monthly, yearly, it doesn't matter. Anyway, if we minus that by the cost that's used, with the companies trying to, they have to pay money for probably their rent for their buildings and the employees' wages and many other things that they may spend their money on, which may some of them may seem necessary, some of the things may not seem necessary. Like the wages, necessary. Sometimes they might expand their offices, which can be necessary on a variety of reasons. Anyway, revenue minus costs, how much would that equal? It will equal, of course, profits, which is something important also. Which can also lead to another process, which can, of course, be growth. See? So there you have it, ladies and gents. We have our revenue, cost, profit, growth. Also, another keywords that we may add, growth and costs. So, but here, I don't think we added costs, so let's add those to the keywords of business for today. Let's do biz for short. Costs, and we also have growth. Yep, that's it. Of course, when you're opening a business, you always have to make sure that you're seeing how much your expenses are, and also revenue and minus costs. You have to always make sure that you're paying attention to your revenue, so you can see if your company is earning or is it losing, which hopefully. So that is the final formula. Revenue minus cost equals profit and growth. That is the end of our lesson, and we have reached the end of the video. So, next, which of these business secrets surprised you the most? Comments down below. And share this with someone who thinks they understand how money works. Next week, I'll be explaining how companies lose money on purpose and they still make billions. So I hope you all enjoyed the lesson, and I hope you all learned something from that. Something that I will take as something that I've learned is that money, it always has to be tracked, and expenses always have to make sure that they are tracked, and you are tracking your expenses. And revenue, you always have to make sure you're checking your revenue to make sure that you are not losing money. So I hope you all enjoyed this lesson and this video, and I hope you all click a like and comment down below what you thought, and I will see you all in the next business video and our next vlogs.